Oh, listen to this. School teaches girls how to change tires and check oil levels as part of a new initiative. Stories from somebody named Sarah Byron. That's so interesting. So, a school is teaching girls how to change tires and check oil levels. And of course, they're not teaching boys that. We cannot continue to reinforce gender stereotypes. The gender stereotype that only men change tires and check oil is heinous and offensive, so we will push that on women only, and we will teach boys to cook and clean. Of course, my question would be, if they're all gender stereotypes, why would you push either of them? Why would you try to flip the script if neither of them is valid in any objective way and in no way based upon some kind of objective, realistic measurement such as biology? Why don't you just let people choose what they want to do then? Because the boys would choose to change the tires and to change the oil, and the girls would choose home ec. Why are they doing that? Because of evil gender stereotypes, so we cannot allow them to choose for themselves. We'll choose for them. So we change those evil stereotypes. Isn't that social engineering? Isn't that the exact same type of social constructivism that you say caused the problem in the first place? But it's okay when we do it. I love the logic. Anyway, before I get into this story more, I'd like to ask those of you out there who like and appreciate the raw, red-pilled, in-your-face nature of my content to please go check out my website, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. And consider making a donation by clicking on the donate button in the upper right-hand corner. I could really use your help. There's 3 ways you can donate. Number 1, some Bitcoin. Number 2, my Cash App. And number 3, my Patreon, which is a per-piece platform. I make about 8 pieces a month. So you donate $1, it's like $8 a month. 50 cents, $4 a month. You get the idea. And you get some nice extra little perks for being a contributing member. Somebody who contributes to and supports my work. So go check that out, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. And click on that donate button. Also, don't forget to follow me on BitChute. BitChute.com/therealistphilosopher. Okay, so let's get back to this story. So school teaches girls how to change tires and check oil levels as part of new initiative to deconstruct what they view as gender stereotypes. So the Australian school, Australia, why am I not surprised, teaches girls vital life skills. Now, are these vital life skills for girls? Or in general? These are vital life skills because we don't want them to think they need no man. Ah, I see. What about picking up heavy objects, which I would think would be part of car maintenance? Isn't one of the reasons that the majority of the work done on cars by men is by men because women lack the physical strength to do a lot of this work? And there are some female mechanics out there, but they suck. And also that men are better with, things, with mechanics in general. No, there's no biological basis for men being more likely to become mechanics than women. Which there is, of course, but they don't acknowledge that because they believe everything is social constructivism and that there's no such thing as biological realities affecting people's preferences. Yeah. So it teaches girls vital life skills and not the typical home economics either, which they don't teach girls, by the way. Yeah, they don't need to learn home ec. The students learn how to check tire pressure. Well, anybody can do that. Monitor coolant and oil levels. I don't see girls doing that too much. They're not very conscientious in general. Most of the articles I read about head gaskets blowing up are from broads. And how to respond in the case of a car accident. Well, that's just general good advice. Stella Maris College, don't go to this school if you're in Australia. In Manly, a town called Manly, they're teaching girls how to change oil. Hired Galmatic. What the fuck kind of weird names is this shit? Stella Maris College in Manly hired Galmatic? What the fuck is that? To teach the students in year 11 these valuable skills. You mean girls. Galmatic is an all-female team consisting of 4 women who specialize in helping Australian women and teenagers feel comfortable behind the wheel through our hands-on car maintenance workshops and online courses. So why are you saying that it's about teaching students in year 11 when actually it's only about teaching female students? You're not offering these classes to boys. That's right. Boys have had too much of a monopoly on car maintenance for the past 90 years. Now it's girls' turn. Did you ever stop to think that the reason it's mostly men that gravitate toward mechanics is because they have a natural preference? Of course not. These are feminists we're dealing with. Biology in no way informs behavior in their mind. So the school teaches girls about cars. Yeah, that's so inaccurate. First of all, it's a sloppy writing. Why did they say teaches students when it only actually teaches female students? In the past, life skill classes for girls meant cooking, sewing, and homemaking tasks. Well, yeah, because that's what they're best at, you know. Sewing's difficult when you got big sausage fingers like mine. I know. And thimbles don't fit my fingers. Thimbles are made for little tiny fingers like girls' fingers. They're much better at sewing than I am. I can sew, but end up sticking fucking needles in my fingers a dozen fucking times because they're so fucking big, and that little tiny needle is unwieldy, man, in these big giant hands. It's best for girls. Yeah, they're more suited to cooking and sewing and homemaking. At least they used to be. They still are, but they don't learn these things anymore. However, times have changed. Yeah, times have changed because you artificially changed them, all right? Not because people have actually changed. Nowadays, boys should be taught to prepare food and maintain an orderly home. Should be? Oh, of course, because we got to flip the script even though both gender roles are completely, totally arbitrary, so they're both stereotypical, so, you know, neither really applies to either in any intrinsic way, so why are you holding on to them to begin with? Because you want to socially re-engineer. You want both men and women to be the weakest, least effective versions of themselves they can possibly be. So this is the part of the article that bothers me. Nowadays, boys should be taught to prepare food. So is ought dichotomy, so that's a logical fallacy. Really, they should be? Even though that's not what they're most geared toward, what suits them best? Oh, they should be. Why should they be? Why? Because traditionally they wasn't. Right, because all this postmodernistic, feminist, Marxist crap is about taking what is and making it into what you think it ought to be. Yeah, which doesn't work. Boys should be taught to prepare food and maintain an orderly home. Well, we do that better than women anyway. Order is what men do, not women. Women are all about fucking chaos and drama. After all, they also need to eat and keep a clean appearance and space. Yeah, we can do that without you, ladies. Just as basic cooking and cleaning skills shouldn't be gender specific. Now, oh, it's so interesting. If they shouldn't be gender specific, why are you only teaching classes in car maintenance to girls and not boys? Oh, you got no answer for that, do you? For instance, let's say a woman's car breaks down and she does not have fixed or even prevent such a situation. Okay. She gets a mechanic. She calls a tow truck. Like the rest of us do. Because, truth be told, if a car fucking breaks down on the fucking freeway and you got to pull it over to the side of the road, most people, men or women, can't fucking fix it, which is a tragedy. But a lot of times it's something that can't be fixed on the fly. This idea, by the way, of the, you know, handyman mechanic that can fix anything with a fucking screwdriver, a paperclip, and some duct tape is bullshit. Most problems that cause a car to break down in the middle of the road, they can't be fixed on site. So that's a myth right there. She'll do what a man would do. Call a tow truck. It's extremely dangerous for her to stand on the side of the road, stuck and at the mercy of strangers. Oh, yeah, right. Because all men are evil predators. I love the way they mischaracterize or characterize everything in a very general way. Yeah, it's extremely dangerous for her to stand on the side of the road, stuck at the mercy of strangers. Yeah, because men are such horrible, horrible, evil beasts, right? Women are angels, of course. Learning these valuable car skills could prevent such situations. This is like the same bullshit argument about how women try to rationalize and justify abortion via the rape argument. I, by the way, don't agree with that argument. I think even if you're raped, you shouldn't be allowed to get an abortion. It's a human being. Human being's a human being, and the baby is an innocent victim. That shouldn't justify you killing a child. But even if you did go in for that argument, it's less than 1%. It's less than 1% of all births are from rape. Yet they try to represent it as so much more to justify. This is the same kind of thing. This is very, very rare that something that puts you on the side of the road and breaks your car down can be fixed on site. Almost all car breakdowns must be towed. So these skills are not going to help women any more than they do men in most cases. You run out of coolant, you blow your fucking head gasket. You're not fixing that on the side of the road. Anyway, Ilani Mitakos led Galmatic. What a fucking stupid name. Trying to sound sci-fi and advanced, I guess. For the past 13 years, and she emphasizes that these workshops are for everyone, not just schoolgirls. But you're only... or for everyone, but we only teach girls. Oh, okay. Yeah, trying to hide the fact that they're sexist and hate men. I want to deny men this kind of knowledge because the truth of the matter is if they taught men, it would be evident clearly that men are much better at this stuff than women. Our fun workshops are interactive and hands-on, and only for women. Because the men would show up to women and show how poorly equipped they are to do this kind of work as compared to men. It displays their website with 13 years experience, that's it. Teaching over 100,000 teenage high school students, girls. You just said earlier that your program only caters to girls. I love how they try to muddy the waters and confuse you into thinking they're somehow inclusive and teach boys as well when they absolutely positively don't. 100,000 teenage girls every year. We don't teach the boys because they don't need our help, right? What do you mean why don't they need our help? They're so privileged. They're men. Goes without saying they don't need help. But if they get no help, don't they need more help then? No! By the way, isn't that you women implying that men are better than women when you say that? Only the women need so much help. You're saying that the men are better standing on their own 2 feet than women. I don't think they understand the messages they're sending and how those messages countermand their own fucking narrative about how strong and independent women are. Anyway, so they teach 100,000 girls in high school every year to fix cars. Yeah, we have developed a jam-packed workshop that is perfect for girls' life skill program outcomes. Life skill program outcomes, okay. We teach up to 100,000 girls a year in schools across all parts of Sydney. Australia, one of the top 5 feminist countries in the world. No surprise, said Elena. The primary aim is for teenagers to feel comfortable behind the wheel. Are you a driving course or a maintenance course? Ultimately, they are driving very big vehicles, which can be very expensive if not looked after properly. That's why you pay a mechanic. That's another problem I have with a course like this. No way you're going to be able to even teach the basics of car maintenance in a class like this. So you're given a false sense of security. I think a class like this will actually lead women to have cars that are more poorly maintained because they get a false sense of security and think that they can do more to maintain their car than they actually can. My advice is take your car to a fucking mechanic, a well-trained mechanic. A course like this isn't going to prepare you to upkeep your car in any meaningful way. I'm sorry, ladies. We can't stress enough to all our students how you should never ignore a problem with your car. You need to address it for your own safety. Right, so just take it to a mechanic. That's all I need to do. I don't need to take your fucking course. You tell me there's a problem with your car, take it to a mechanic. Okay. Starts to sputter, take it to a mechanic. You don't try to fix it your fucking self unless you're really, really good at this shit, okay? So the assistant principal at Stella Maris College, even though it doesn't sound like a college, it's a high school, Amy Smith, states that all the students who joined the workshop found it very valuable. Yeah, they're going to find it valuable until their car blows up. The lesson was 2 hours long. That's it? You're not going to learn much in 2 hours, okay? And included hands-on basic car maintenance skills. No previous knowledge is required to attend. Well, that's good because these are women. So these are young girls. They have no previous knowledge. We had 3 groups of roughly 40 girls in what we call an incursion, an event on school grounds, said Smith. The feedback was very positive. Oh, of course, you're stroking women's egos and leading them to believe that they can do things they can't do. The ladies from Galmatic were very patient and thorough in what they were explaining. Yeah. Grifters. All the teaching staff and our principal, Elizabeth Carnegie, felt a workshop like this would be beneficial for many reasons, mainly skills the girls need to learn before they leave school. Yeah. Why not for the boys? This is only for the girls. This is yet another example of how public education is used to implement social constructivism, which is really social deconstructivism. And once they deconstruct, then they can reconstruct. Yeah, because we're all blank canvas, right? All the teaching staff and our principal, Elizabeth Carnegie, felt this workshop would be beneficial. Yeah. It was also important to show the girls that they have the capabilities to handle situations themselves once they are on the road, but they don't. Rather than rely on someone else. Oh, yeah, God forbid you rely on somebody else. God forbid some evil, horrible, toxic man pull over and help me change a tire. By the way, do any of you people out there, ladies and men included, know how much a fucking tire weighs? I know, because I've taken mine off a lot. Even if they're fucking alloy, they're heavy. Ain't no women getting them off. Are you kidding me? A steel rim with a tire can weigh 50 pounds. Can any women out there lift 50 pounds? Any? No. Majority of women can't lift that kind of weight, let alone get the lug nuts off. Do you know how much foot-pounds your average lug nut is? Like 100 pounds. Can a woman exert 100 pounds on a lug nut to get it off a tire? And can she do that 5 times consecutively? Even the smallest car with the least amount of torque has 4 lug nuts. Can you ladies remove 4 lug nuts that are put on with 100 pounds of torque? And can you torque them back to 100 pounds? They don't have the upper body strength. They don't have it. Oh, what if they get one of those X-shaped wrenches, they can do it. Nah, even with an X-shaped one that you can exert, push, and pull, they don't have the upper body strength to torque it that high. So this is great. So you're giving them a false sense of security. So, you're giving them a car that has lug nuts on it that are probably torqued to maybe 20 pounds. They're able to take off the lug nut in this class because it's torqued like 20% of what it's actually required to keep it on the fucking car when it's driving. They get this false sense of security. Ooh, I got the lug nut off. And then they take the fucking tire off because you raise the car just high enough that all they have to do is pull. And it's at the exact needed height. Oh, and then when they put it back on, you probably helped them. All right? Get it back on there. Yeah, because they can't do it themselves. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but we could do this by ourselves. Which they couldn't do. Absolutely couldn't do. This is great. And by the way, wait till you see the kind of lifts they're using. The kind of jacks and everything which you couldn't possibly have in your car. So you're not going to get it at that exact height. And by the way, putting the tire back on is more difficult than getting it off. Okay? If you get the exact height that maybe you can pull it off without having to bear the weight, you can't get it back on at that height. You have to raise the car a little higher, which means you have to lift the tire some, which they don't have the body strength to do. This is a scam. This is a grift. Whoever's running this Galmatic is a grifter, okay? Playing off of the, I can do what you can do, but I can do it better. Feminist bullshit. Yeah, like women can do exactly what men can do. Total crap. If that was true, women wouldn't need special lowered standards to get into the military, okay? Bunch of crap. All this is doing is giving women a false sense of security, leading their cars to become less well maintained because they're believing they can do something they cannot, which is estimate their car's maintenance requirements, and they're essentially teaching them that they can do things they can't do. You can't change the oil. I love to see some of these broads try to get the fucking oil plug off a car. Like 35, 40 pounds of force required to remove it and put it back on. You don't have the upper body strength to do that, ladies. It's great. Oh, man. Anyway, yeah, it would be so horrible to have to rely on someone else. Yeah. Stella Maris College posted photos about incursion. That's the name of the course this Galmatic is teaching only to girls on their Facebook page, and the response was overwhelming. This is the type of education our kids need in every school. Well done, wrote one user. But only the girls are getting taught. They even said at the beginning. And they tried to muddy the waters by switching between students and only female. But they made it very clear that this class is only for women and they only teach girls. They want you to forget that fact, though. Oh, it was great for kids. This would be great if all the kids were learning it, but only the girls. The people who are most able to implement these kind of skills. Boys, nah, we don't need to help them. Boys get enough help because, they're the privileged class. You're right. This is fantastic, wrote someone else on Facebook. Wish I could have joined in and learnt this skill. You didn't learn anything that you can apply effectively. Well done, Stella, for teaching our girls how to be strong and independent. I can't wait to see one of these broads with their car broken down or has to change a tire and they can't even get the lug nuts off. As a mom of one of those Year 11 girls today, an ex-Stella student myself, It's a really worthwhile session. Table topic tonight at dinner. Here's to safe, knowledgeable drivers. Anyway, the school teaches boys domestic skills. This is the problem with sending your kids to public schools. They're nothing more than indoctrination centers. The whole point of public schools, other than making a good, useful, lemming, idiot tax chattel for the state, is to deconstruct what they call gender stereotypes and then reconstruct by turning the boys into bad girls and the girls into bad boys. Neither is effective enough to fight back and offer any resistance to the state because there's no strong, stable foundation of self. They're inferior versions of the other, but one is superior above the other, even though they're both inferior to how they would actually be if they were true to what they actually are, and that's women. The women are the superior in that equation, which is why they're so privileged in today's society, why they do so much better in school, why something like 70% now of your PhD earners are women, why women in 147 of 150 of the biggest cities in America are making more money than men, why the wage gap is a total fucking myth. Women are actually doing better. That's why they get all the privileges they do when they divorce. These are all goodies. These are all rewards for being the useful idiot lemmings that they are. So on the other side of the table, boys are learning traditional home economic skills. Just like girls are more than capable of driving, owning, and maintaining a car. They're not. That's bullshit. Boys can cook, clean, and sew. I will admit that boys can do cooking and cleaning better than women, for sure. Sewing, not so sure. Anyway, in this day and age, and maybe with a sewing machine, not with the little fucking needle, hand sewing, no. Our fingers are too big. So that's an objective roadblock. Those don't exist! Okay, then we could be better at sewing too. Of course, you'll notice that the things that women themselves are better at, men can't do better. Oh, yeah. We can do what you can do but better, but you can't say that as a man. Of course. I thought you believed in equality. No. In this day and age, there are no manly or womanly chores. Then why would it matter? Then why would it matter what the boys learn? Then why can't the boys learn car maintenance? Why are you pushing traditionally female tasks on them if it doesn't matter? If there's no manly or womanly chores, why are you pushing the manly chores on the women and the unmanly, traditionally woman chores on the men? Because you're clearly making a distinction. You're clearly flipping the script. Why are you doing that if it doesn't matter? Great. Everyone needs to know how to take proper care of themselves, their home, and their vehicle. So there you go. There you go. So they say that gender roles, gender norms, preferences are all just stereotypes. There's no biological basis for preferences, and manly or womanly chores don't exist. And yet they themselves show a clear preference, a clear acknowledgement of certain chores falling into certain gender norm categories and flipping the scripts so as to enfranchise the women more than the men. There's clearly a preference here on the feminists' behalf, on the behalf of people running schools like this. Teach the girls how to do the things that are traditionally male, even though there's no such thing as traditionally male tasks. Well, you just contradicted yourself. No, I didn't. Great. This is so great. Meanwhile, teach the boys would have been known traditionally as female tasks. The reason that they do this is because they want the women to rule. They want the women to take over because they're good, useful idiots. Women are great, useful idiots. They're great collectivists. They love socialism. It's in their very nature, a nature that, by the way, the left denies. And they want to disempower the men who are more prone to be solitary, independent, lone wolf types who eschew collectivism for individuality because men were in constant competition for the women. Meanwhile, the women were constantly having to work together, collaborate, and raise the children together. They had to get along. Think about it. Up until very recently in human history, women had to survive collectively. Men had to compete constantly with each other. So it's no surprise that women have this preference for collectivism while men tend to have a preference for individuality and embracing competition. That's why the left, that's why the global elites, that's why the ones who print the money and actually rule the world want the script flipped. So that the most useful idiots, the people who are most manipulatable, women, are in power. And men are relegated to a second-class citizen role, which is where we are now in the West. And this only reinforces that, which is the whole fucking point. Teach boys to be girls and girls to be boys. Great. That's working out wonderful for the West, isn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section by going to bitchute.com/The Realist Philosopher. And please like and subscribe to my BitChute channel if you haven't already. And if you really like the raw, red pill nature of my content, please consider going and checking out my website. Again, TheRealistPhilosopher.com. There's TheRealistPhilosopher.com, and clicking on that donate button could really use your help.